Hi, let's talk about the third episode of the first season of the series Supernatural. First of all, I want to note the stunning female legs at the very beginning. This video brought back interesting reminiscences for me. I'll include a short clip from the episode in my review. Okay, now let's move on to another perhaps less interesting part of the series. First, let me talk about the plot. Well, I will retell in a little. So, this is Wisconsin, a remote, sparsely populated provincial town. There was once a murder there, namely a little boy was killed by two other boys who were bullying him. It was a very brutal murder. They accidentally drowned him, buried his bike and left his body in a lake. And this one again reminded me of Lovecraft. I could even quote something relevant. But the true picture in the terrible, to whom a new thrill of unterrible ghost lines is the chief and justification of existence, esteems most of all the ancient lonely farmhouses of backwoods New England, for there the dark elements of strength, solitude, grotesqueness, and ignorance combine to form the perfection of the hideous. It's exactly the same here. A small town and the terrible secrets that are buried in it are simply terrifying, and it is so familiar to me. So I have never bullied children, but in general, if I had fallen into the bad company of such juvenile degenerates, then I could have been one of the bullies and one of those who were bullied. Simply because many children, not all but many, are simply stupid and cruel. All children, no matter whether they are well-mannered or not, can be cruel. And so it turns out that two such juvenile criminals drowned a child. He was drowned, his bike was buried. A lifeless mother was left, who has been mourning her son for 30 years. There are also two other families related to these young criminals in the episode. And so the spirit begins to take revenge of these two families, killing one after another. And this is interesting. And the end of the series, one of the killers confesses what he did, goes to the lake, where the spirit take him to itself. At the same time, everything was not taken to its logical conclusion here. For example, he kept saying, "Listen, I was a child, and still there is no forgiveness. You killed, so you will be killed." On the other hand, he took the life of that boy, took away his future, and at the same time he himself lived a pretty good life. How old is he? About 55. He had a great life. He has a daughter, he has a grandson. It is also questionable that they left the mother who lost her child. I mean the mother of the spirit of the lake. She never learned the truth about what happened. The second question is that the spirit simply took revenge on these offenders and that's it. That's all. And that's the point. Revenge. No forgiveness, no atonement and so on. Well, thirdly, this revenge wasn't fully carried out because the spirit allowed his offenders to live a good life and took it away only when they lived it. For example, this spirit could have killed the children himself, and then the revenge would have been more complete. You killed a child, then he kills your children. Or for these sheriffs to try to apologize to the mother of the child he killed and then turn himself into the authorities, write a confession and try to compensate the family financially. Okay, this is another filler episode because it doesn't lead anywhere, especially not to the disclosure of the main mystery of the season. I keep thinking about what happened to their father, and then I remember Game of Thrones. God, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss did an incredible job, and of course Martin. And how amazing were the first 3 or 4 seasons of Game of Thrones, how they managed to intertwine a number of plot lines so that single words dropped in the first season echoed all the way to the 8th. On the other hand, there is the development of the character of one of the Winchesters. I still haven't learned to tell them apart. One of the brothers tells the boy, like, I lost my mother when I was a child and I had to live with it, and you lost your father, but you will have to live with it too, and I think your father would want you to be strong. It's this interesting. The detective story is also very well done. When they try to understand what is going on from the boys' drawings, how they look at the archived digitized newspapers, and the interrogation and the psychological pressure on this sheriff. The detective story of this season is very cool. In general, the writers did a great job. There is also a lot of symbolism in this episode that our past is like water. Some secrets can emerge from this past in the form of clear or muddy water, which overtake us where we did not expect. The episode also offers a way to cope with the secrets of the past, to escape from them. In general, this episode is not scary, not terrible, it is just a little sad and disturbing. The topic raised in it is post-traumatic stress disorder. This is bullying at school, these are old mental traumas. Overall, the episode left me with a positive impression. The episode is disturbing and raises important questions. I just wish there was more. I want it was part of some big grand plot, like the Legend of the Heroes of the Galaxy or say Game of Thrones. In this episode, Dean's character was developed a little because he talked to the boy and showed his old injuries. But are 1 or 2 scenes in this episode enough to justify showing this entire episode? I would like where Dean's injury would just be one small piece of a much bigger puzzle, and this gigantic story is not there. Okay, the episode is not bad. Thanks for your attention.